If you believe that you are an eternal, unlimited being having a human experience in this incarnation, then you understand that as you had your thoughts and experiences and assimilated your false and limiting beliefs, that you have created a limitless number field of potentialities, probable realities, where probable versions of you are experiencing those realities. And what does that mean? You have been doing so during the course of your life, so that if you wish to move back into the past on any subject matter, but in this conversation to a past incident that was very displeasing to you, you can do so briefly for the purposes of reorganizing it. And what is actually happening? You are making a decision in your current present moment to have a different past, which of course you have an unlimited number of past experiences that are very different from the ones that your body is holding the memory of, that is the energies of currently in this present moment. By doing so, you are deciding that your experience about that particular incident, that particular interaction, that instead you are going to house the memory that is the energy frequencies, that is the memory that your body holds, the memory of those experiences that exist in another reality that you did not experience here, and yet is just as real and valid as the one you are having now, or as the one that you had last week in your own memory complex. And when you make that decision, you move yourself where the version of the story that you created occurred, meaning you align your own energy resonances with the reality where the version of the story that you have now newly created occurred, meaning you shift out of one reality and into another. And when you do that, as I said before, what begins to happen as you create the story, neuronally, from a quantum perspective, what is happening is the version of you in this present moment that is weaving a new past story is converging and merging with the version of you in the other probable reality that had that experience. Then you see, at a psychic level, you are connecting to the memory of another probable version of you that existed then, and you are merging the two versions of you into one. Thereby, from a quantum perspective, you have shifted yourself out of the reality where the alarming or upsetting past experience occurred into a reality then where the past experience was very different than what occurred in that reality, you see. And when you do that, you enable the physical form to release any of the traumas or of the negative energies that are stored in the body, so that now it is enabled to have the energies of the reframed experience stored in this body instead. Meaning, the body that you had yesterday, the body that you had 5 days ago, is not the body that you're going to have tomorrow or even now. You are constantly, always shifting realities. Your five senses are not always able to discern this, although some have come up with techniques that enable them to recognize it some of the time. Not all of the time, because you are having the human experience, but some of the time. And you are shifting anyway. into other realities as you are creating this life that you are living. What I'm speaking of here in this ability to change the past is the ability to release the traumas that may have been stored from another reality's past and creating the space then for the mind body spirit complex to move into the reality where that event occurred very differently, you see. And so that may have been a large nut for some of you to bite off. What have you then accomplished in the present moment when you have done so? When you find yourself smiling now as you recall the story from a very different point of view, because it was you yourself that changed the story, meaning in that choice point, it was you yourself that decided which reality you were going to have that past experience in, leading you now into the purposeful and very deliberate movement into the reality that you prefer. As I have said before, when you have had a thought, and the average human being has approximately around 70,000 thoughts a day, those thoughts did not evaporate into nothingness. The power of creation that is shared with you by all that is, the same creative energy that has created universes, is what enables you to create unlimited fields of potentialities, probable realities, and versions of your probable selves, then utilizing the same energy. In that way, as I have said before, you are the creation and also the creator. And this process then can be utilized for any unpleasant memory in your past that you may still be holding the resonances of that traumas, of those traumas within your body. Hence the releasing of it by activating your ability to decide, to choose which reality you prefer, and then to experience that reality. For you see, if you move one step further, if you decide to change a past event in this way, thereby shifting you into the reality where the event was experienced according to the new version of your description, which of course is going to be in a way that pleases you more, that holds much less trauma, much less anxiety, there will need to be a recognition that when you, from a quantum perspective, move yourself into this new reality where the new past, the newly described past event occurred, you have now entered into a reality that you have not been in before. You are now able to create in a way where you are not as impeded by the traumas that are stored in your body from a different reality where the traumatic event occurred. You have the right and you have the ability. You have the free will to determine what your experiences are going to be. Now, this will be very difficult for many people to believe because they are not able to view with their human eyes on a regular and consistent basis the effects of their intuitive psychic aspects of their multidimensional self. And yet it is true. And so the introduction then is designed to give you the ability to choose. Now, if there is a past incident that had some level of trauma, and again, I am speaking of any past experience that was unpleasing to you. Now, there are some people that have experienced traumas in their past that to you might seem extraordinary. And there are some that just might amount to minor disagreements between friends. You have the choice to utilize and engage this process for whatever event in your past may have contributed those energies within your framework that no longer serve you, as they say, or your interests in experiencing happier and more joyful life. All of this is predicated, of course, on the assumption that you actually do believe you are an eternal being having a human experience that has the ability to create the life that they want. The more effective you are in the understanding of this truthful aspect of yourself, the more you're going to have the ability to move freely in your experiences without judgment, then for self or for any past experiences. So you see, the correlation of your beliefs about who you truly are and your ability to effectively do this are related. If you believe that you are not an unlimited spiritual eternal being having a human experience, a fractal of the one consciousness, a portion of the one consciousness through which the universe is expanding and knowing itself, if you believe still that you are a victim of your circumstances and you are powerless to do anything about them, then it may feel as though it is quite some work for you. It may be an opportunity then for you to examine the self in a way that allows you to identify any limiting or false beliefs that you have about yourself. And this may be the place where you would like to work on your thought systems here before moving on to engaging processes that will allow you to change your past. Now, they say, let me say it this way, we call it changing your past because most humans think in a linear fashion that this one past that they experienced then is the sum and total of their experiences, not understanding that psychically they have access to all of the experiences they created as a multidimensional being, and they have the ability to choose them, again, with patience, understanding, and compassion. Patience, understanding, and compassion for not understanding this information 10 years ago, 5 years ago, an hour ago. To be able to move through this examination with the intention of loving oneself more, creating more loving experiences in your life, and even transforming experiences in one past so that you can experience a different present and ultimately future. Although the present moment is enough, that if you decide to engage this process successfully, to change your perspective about something that heretofore was traumatizing to you, and in a moment in this process, you realize that those feelings about that incident are now gone because you have changed the incident itself, is a form of relief, satisfaction, joy that you will experience as you engage this process for anything unpleasant in the one past that you experienced, moving yourself into a reality where that reality's past experience in a similar subject was very different. And now you have harmonized your mind-body-spirit complex, the energies of that mind-body-spirit complex, to match the reality that is the vibration, that is the resonance of the reality that exists with the newly described past incident. It is life-changing, even if you do it only for one. It is transformative. And then when you begin to see in a way that your five senses can detect the results of you existing now as a human in this new reality are very pleasurable to you. And many other resonances will shift because of it. When you have the realization that you accomplished it, your confidence goes up. your appreciation for your life increases, for yourself, and even for the people or the elements of the situation previously that held trauma or anxiety, you see, just by rewriting the story in your mind. Now, for those who would like to go one step further, after this part of the process, you can begin now to talk about that past incident in the newly formed description that is more pleasing to you, as though, of course, it happened in the past, reinforcing in the mind body spirit complex that more firmly into the reality where that experience, the newly formed experience, occurred. And so it is from this viewpoint, although, yes, of course, you may ask any question or have a discussion that you desire, we will weave in a portion of this to reinforce regarding a topic of your choosing that this methodology is available to you, for you, by you at any time. One other thought I have said before, that the things that you think are real in your environment are a part of your hologram. I have also said before that the table, the chair, the items that are surrounding you that you think are real are not in the way that you think they are, that is. And so it is true also, not indicating the validity of your surroundings, not suggesting that the validity of your surroundings and your hologram are not as valid. That is not what I'm suggesting. What I am suggesting is that the items in your environment are like the experiences that you hold in your memories, in that each thing is representative of the meaning that you give it. Then that includes your furniture, your home, your car, and the experiences that occur in your daily lives. The image of yourself is a literal reflection of the meaning that you ascribe to your image. And so in that way, all things can be changed, including your pasts, including your past experiences.